Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm Marilyn and my channel's Making with Marilyn. Now I do all things crafty on my channel, but today I'm going to use my Glowforge to make a bunch of different flip-flop earrings. Now if you don't have a Glowforge or other laser, I'm also going to do a video showing you how to make these flip-flop earrings with a Cricut, so you could use a Cricut or a Silhouette. So if a laser isn't something you work with, be on the lookout for that video. Now this idea is something that was suggested by someone that watched a recent Glowforge video, and so Tina Richardson, thank you so much for your inspiration. I'm going to make 4 different pairs of earrings. I'm going to make one pair using acrylic. So I have this beautiful rose gold acrylic, and then this is black acrylic. I'll make the base of the flip-flop shoe out of the rose gold, and the little part that goes over your foot will be cut out of the black. Then I'll glue those together, probably with something called liquid fusion. Then another pair, I'm going to cut just out of this thin wood that I got at the Dollar Tree back when it was Halloween time. I love to buy this because it's inexpensive and you can cut so many little items out of the wood in these. Then after I cut it out, I'm going to paint it purple and teal. And then I'm actually going to make 3 pair of flip-flop earrings out of this unisub panel. Now this is something that I get from Conde Systems. The panel that I bought is sublimatable on one side and not sublimatable on the other. You can buy these where it's sublimatable on both sides. It just costs a couple dollars more. And then the designs that I'm going to sublimate onto the top of those are right here. Now I got these designs off of Creative Fabrica, so one pair of flip-flops will be made out of this top design, a second out of this, a third I'm going to use the daisies from both sides. This is actually a tumbler design, and of course I shrunk it down to a small rectangle. For the tops of these, the part that goes over the foot, I just made a black rectangle, and then for the part that goes over the foot on this pair, I just made a blue rectangle. So these designs started out as 12 by 12, and I just shrunk them down to, I believe, 2.5 by 2.5, so that you'd get a whole lot of daisies onto the base of the flip-flop. So I want to go ahead and go to the computer. I'm going to show you the file that I started with as far as the flip-flop, and then I'll show you these designs, and then lastly on the computer, I'll show you how you use the Glowforge interface. Now I'm going to start in Creative Fabrica. This is where I found all of the digital files that I needed for this design, other than that black rectangle and the blue rectangle, which I just made myself. So I go up to My Profile, and then I can go back to my downloads. And here's one of the designs that I used. The file is actually for a tumbler. I shrunk it down really small, and basically I'm going to use this area and this area. Then another one of the files that I used is right here, this Doodle Daisy Flower Digital Papers. These are beautiful and bright, and so I just selected 2 of the papers from this to use as 2 pairs of flip-flops. And then the flip-flop design that I used is right here. So if you wanted to, you could fill those with any pattern or any color, any digital paper you want. I left them solid because I printed my sublimation print separately. Now Creative Fabrica, they do have a special, if you use the link below, you can get a 1-month trial membership for $1. You can either cancel it before the end of that month, or if you want to let it renew, it does renew at a discounted rate. I think it's $19.99 per month, but I will have the information in the video description below. Alright, so let's go ahead and go into the Glowforge interface. I already have my flip-flop file on my desktop, so I'm going to say upload, and this is the file right here. So once again, I'll click upload, and there it is. Now let me zoom in on this because I want you to see how I organized my design. Now in Inkscape, I'm going to drag something over so you can see it. You see that the base of my flip-flop is black, the part that goes over the foot is green or turquoise, and then I added just a really small circle so that the Glowforge would go ahead and cut that out for me. I made one shoe, I duplicated it, and then I flipped one of them horizontally so that you could have a left foot and a right foot. Then what I did is I grouped the two bases together, I grouped the two parts that go over the foot together, and then I grouped the two holes together. Now you might wonder, why did I use a separate layer for the holes? Why didn't I just truly cut them out or slice them out of the base? In Glowforge, I really want this to cut before the shoe because this is a smaller intricate cut. I like those to cut first. So what I can do to manipulate that is I can drag this layer up to the top. So the Glowforge is going to cut this layer, then this layer, then this layer. Now I need to turn the Glowforge on so that we can see the material in there so that I can know where to set these. Let's go ahead and make these smaller again. Now I've turned the Glowforge on so you can see it says it's centering, and here in a minute the camera's going to show up and we'll be able to see this a little bit better. We'll also see where that unisub panel is. Okay, so we can see now what's in the bed of the Glowforge, and it's that large unisub panel. Here's my design. So what I want to do is go ahead and grab this pair of flip-flops, and I'll just fill in right here. Now the base of the flip-flop and the hole will be cut together, but this part that goes over the foot is going to be separate. So what I need to do is I'm going to go ahead and let's double click on my shoe. Now I can drag that off. I'll double click on this shoe. Okay, say done, and double click on this shoe, then I can drag that off. So we are good to cut. Before I can cut though, I need to tell the Glowforge what settings to use. In this case, I've been really successful using the thick draft board setting. So I click right here on unknown, and I go ahead and use one of their settings. Sometimes I'll measure the thickness of my material and I'll use the manual setting feature, but in this case, I'm going to select thick draft board because I know it works. Okay, so for some reason it did not pick up this one. Let's move it over. There we go. It thought it was off the side, and maybe it was. It was outside of where it wanted to cut. Now blue means engrave. So right now, all of this is just set to engrave. I'm going to go right here to engrave, and I'm going to tell it, instead of engraving those holes, I want the Glowforge to cut them. Same thing on the base of my shoes. I'll select cut, and then on the part that goes over the top, I'll select cut. All right, let's give it one more look. I think that looks good. I'm going to click on the print button. Even though it says print, it's going to cut. So I'll click on that, and then it's going to let me how long this file will take to cut. And that was fast to process that. It's going to take 5 minutes and 20 seconds to cut out all these things. Now, while these were cutting, I was thinking, not everybody has a sublimation printer and they don't want to order sublimation prints. So I also have some Cricut Infusible Ink, and I'm going to try this out. These are very, very dirty on the sides because they were burnt out. So you can see they're really messy. So you're going to go around and you're going to clean the outside edge of each of your pieces. And your hands are going to be really dirty. And then this is a protective film. So right now you can see it looks really messy. There's singe marks all over the top of it. So let me peel this protective coating off. And then you see you have a really nice clean base to work with. So I'm going to clean all of these up, and then with these smaller pieces, they're cut. You can see they're wanting to fall out. but sometimes the smaller intricate pieces, they just get wedged in there. So I'm going to push these out, and then I'll clean up the sides of those. I'll peel off that protective layer, and we'll be ready to start sublimating and putting the Cricut Infusible ink on. Now when you're cleaning up these smaller pieces, I was cleaning one up yesterday, and because they're thin, you have to be a little bit more careful. I actually broke one. Okay, so I have all my shoes cleaned and lined up. I made sure I had the right top for each pair of shoes. So I have my 4 left feet over here and my 4 right feet over here. Now I think I'll go ahead and start with the Cricut Infusible ink. And remember, I decided at the last minute to go ahead and try it as well. So I'll take 1 left foot and 1 right foot. I have my little Cricut Mini Easy Press over here. Right here. I put it on high, and I'm going to do this for 45 seconds. Hopefully these are large enough. Yes. Okay. So I probably should tape this down, but in this case, I'm not going to. But you should. Do as I say, not as I do, right? All right, let's go ahead and try this out. I'll press my timer, and I'll see you back here in about 45 seconds. All right, let's see how this looks. Oh, that is cute. Now, I can tell that my sheet wasn't quite big enough because it looks like it tries to go off the edge, and you can see it's a little lighter up there. Now, this is a little bit of a marbled effect anyway, so I'm just going to try to fill that in a little bit. But at this point, I don't really like how it looks, so it's worth it. Now, I won't do this the whole 45 seconds. Just maybe 10 or 15 while I'm talking here. Okay, see if that helps at all. Okay, so it filled it in some. You can see a little line there, but that's going to be okay. And I learned my lesson, so I'm going to go ahead and put just a little bit of tape on these. That way, maybe you start out okay, but if you don't have tape on, you might slide your paper off. That's not a good look. So, I'll do it the way I'm supposed to. Maybe I should be using my full Cricut heat press and not the mini. I think that's the issue, is I'm not doing a very good job of having the pressure even where I need it. Okay, so there's the second one, and that's cute also. Okay, so the infusible ink subbed perfectly onto those. So you might see streaks in these. That's actually the way the paper was designed. See, in the paper you see streaks. So that was not a problem with the paper, wasn't a problem with the ink. It's just the way it was designed. Okay, so I'm going to do this entire sheet all at one time, and I'm going to do it on the heat press. Now I want some of this blue in it. How do I want to do this? I think I'll lay it about like this. I'll get some of the pink from this, blue, little orange. Now this last one I have to be a little bit careful about where I place these because I don't want this white from the bleach look inside there. Then I need to make sure I get one left and one right of the piece that goes over the foot on the blue. Alright, so I'll heat up my heat press. I'll lay some butcher paper down to protect the base of my heat press. I'll have to flip these all over, and then I'm going to press these at 385 for 50 seconds. Okay, I have everything under there flipped upside down. Alright, I'm going to let those cool off for just a minute, and then I'll take them over to the table and we'll check them out together. Okay, let's go ahead and start with the top. Oh my goodness, that is so cute. Oh, wow. That is even better than I imagined. So cute. Let's see how this one looks. And it's a very similar pattern. It just has a little bit different shaped flower, a little bit of different colors in it. And then this daisy one, oh, really cute. Okay, so the blue came out really nice for the tops of those. Let's see how the black ones did. Those all look great. Now I'm going to use a glue called Liquid Fusion. That's what I use on most of my rhinestone projects when it's flat back rhinestones and you're gluing them onto surfaces. It's a really strong glue, and I've put it in this little precision bottle. Now it's clear, and of course it dries clear. Then I also have these little clamps that I got at the Dollar Tree store. And when I bought them, I thought, well, I'm not going to ever need more than one set. You get 6 in a set. Well, seems like I was wrong. So I guess I need to buy more of those. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of this on the back of the piece that goes on top. And I want to hold it off to the side so in case I dribble any, it doesn't go down on one of my shoes. Now I'm not necessarily coating the entire back, just giving it enough that I know it's going to bond. So before I put this down, I want to be really careful and make sure I have it about where it needs to go so that I don't then move it around and get some of this glue where it's going to show. So I'm going to put it right there. And then I'll move it just slightly. I think that looks pretty good. I want the toe thing kind of pointing over to where the big toe would be. So let's give it a little pressure. And then I'm going to add my little clamp. Hopefully it'll fit down on there. Yep, right there. And I'll leave it there for, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes. Now, since I don't have enough clamps to do everything, I'll do at least one of each shoe. And I'm just going to fast forward through most of this. Okay, so I cut the wood earrings, and these were only 0.08 inch thick. And so I measured that with calipers. I entered that in the settings. Then I entered manual settings, cut at 250 speed, full power. And then on the acrylic ones, I just used the medium clear acrylic setting, and Glowforge did all the work figuring out the settings. Now, I could have masked these with paper and then pulled that paper off. You wouldn't have this singeing, but since I'm going to paint them, I just thought that was an unnecessary step. So I'm not super creative when it comes to painting. You could paint little cute things on these. I'm just going to paint the bases purple, the tops turquoise, then okay, so I'm going to let those dry, and I'm going to be very honest. Painting those is not my favorite thing to do. If you're a good painter, you're artistic, like I have a friend, she used to do toll painting. She could do beautiful work on small areas. That is not me. So for me, I love doing the sublimation prints or even the Cricut Infusible Ink. And I think I'm going to love these acrylic ones. So let me go ahead and put the acrylic ones together. These have been drying for, I don't know, 15-20 minutes, so I'm good to take these clamps off. Let me go ahead and get these glued on. Now I'm going to be a little more sparing than I was on the other ones because I think this glue, when it squishes out in the sides, I think it might show more on this mirrored acrylic. So I dropped it on there, and I'm going to leave that there for a few minutes. Then I'll push it down some. Then I may put a clamp on it. I'm not really sure yet. Let me think about that. It'll probably depend on how that feels in a few minutes. The other thing is, this is my first time to do this. So do I know for sure that this liquid fusion is going to hold these on really well? I really don't. It holds rhinestones on really well, so I think it will. But if you've used something that you've had really good success with, let me know what that is. Now I'm going to drop it on, and I'm pretty much going to leave it wherever it drops. Okay, so let's see if this feels, okay, so it feels like maybe it's a little bit tacky. I'm going to press it down, and then I'm still going to let that dry for maybe 5 minutes before I put a clamp on it. I do not want this moving around when I put the clamp on. Okay, so now that the glue on this is kind of tacky, they're not freely moving around, I'm going to go ahead and put the clamp on. You don't have a long working time with this glue. I want to try to go straight down so I don't break the little bond that's formed so far. It's been about 5 minutes. since I put the glue on these. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move these over. I want a clean working surface. And then I need to figure out which. Okay, I think this one goes on the left shoe. These aren't extremely dry. I should wait, but I'm being impatient, so I'm not. All right, then that goes on top of the purple shoe. All right, here's all the earrings. They all look cute. Now, do I love them all? No. I'm not very fond of the pair I painted. I just didn't do a very good job. If I would have done a better job of painting, then glued those on, I could even spray that with some type of sealant. If I wanted it glossy, I could use a glossy sealant. If I want it matte, I could use a matte sealant. But these are just a little messy. My glue oozed out. I didn't do a great paint job on the sides of these top pieces. So again, I'm not really impressed with those, but if you take your time and you're a better painter than I am, they'll probably turn out really, really cute. Now the acrylic ones are cute. I like those. They're pretty simple. The ones with the infusible ink, they worked really well. They're pretty simple. My eye really goes toward these. They're colorful, they're fun, it's a busy pattern. I really love these pairs. So the next thing I need to do is just go ahead and put the hardware on. Now I used to use jump rings and then fish hooks, and I found this hardware and I love how these go on. Now I don't think the metal in these is as good as what you can order in the fish hooks and the loops, but they do the job, and these are just inexpensive earrings. They're just little fun costume jewelry. So there's nothing wrong with these. It's just that I used to like to order the stainless steel, and I don't think these are that stainless steel. So with these, you have this little clasp here. It's already attached to your fish hook, and so you just set it down on top of your hole, and then it always takes me a couple of pairs to get good at this again. Now I tend to just use my fingers to squeeze it first. I squeeze it so that it's at least down into the hole of the earring. Then I can use some tweezers to tighten it. You can use any, not tweezers. Then I use some pliers to tighten it. You can use any pliers you want. I'm using these because they have the rubber over the tips, and that's going to make it where it doesn't scratch your metal. Okay, so I just tighten that up. I'll go ahead and finish all these. Then I'm going to show you a picture at the end. So if you enjoyed the video, please be sure and give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Go over there and subscribe, and then tap that bell, select the all notifications so that YouTube lets you know anytime I upload new content. Thanks again for joining me, and until my next video, bye-bye.